There are many reasons why you may want to copy a company use-defined field value down to the contacts at the company. If there's not many values and it's a table, you could use the searching and then global editing. That will work. If you've got lots of values or it's an alphanumeric field, then you'll find that that can be a bit time consuming. So the easier option is going to be to use export from Maximizer, use Excel to copy the values from the company to the contact, and then use Maximizer's import to import and update the contact data. So the field we're going to use in this demo is the standard user-defined field in this database called primary interest. So this is a table user-defined field. It's got a single value. It is allowed for companies and contacts. So I don't need to make any changes. So if we have a look in the database for companies that actually have a value for that field, so we'll make sure we're looking for companies only. I'm going to go and add the field in. So sales, primary interest. To make it search for having a value, you can either tick all of the values. If there's only 4, that's not a problem. If there's 20, that can be a bit time consuming. If you just want to find any, then you can use the search for no value and then set the not equal to, so it's not equal to no value, so it has a value. So if we now search, that will give us a list. So in here we've got 10 companies. So for this export, we're going to need to create a column setup that will allow us to re-import the data. To re-import contact data, we're going to need a field to match for the company, a field to match for the contact, plus then the value we want to import. So for this, we're going to use the client ID for the company ID, and then the contact number for the contact link, and then we'll just use the other field. So to create a new column setup, just go to View Column Setup, add, give it a name, and then we'll add our fields in. So the first field is the first column, and then the field is going to be in identification, which is the company's primary ID. So all contacts, same company, have that same ID. And then the second field is going to be contact number, so that's unique for a contact within a company. And then we're just going to add another column and add the use-defined field we're interested in. So today we're looking at primary interest in sales. So if hit OK, that's now saved it. If we now tell it to use it now, so it's going to show us all the values. If I just widen these columns out a little bit. So we've got 10 companies. Companies always have the contact number of 0, so we can ignore that when we use the import. So what we'll just do is export that to Excel. So that's just our export now. And then we'll go and retrieve the contacts for these particular companies. So what we do is first off, we select all the records, go to the search, go to retrieve contacts. So that now gets all the contacts for those companies. To then get rid of the companies from the list, we're going to go from the edit menu and invert selection, and then again from the edit menu, make selected list current. So now we've got a list of 22 contacts, as it says up top. So now we're just going to export that list. So now we've got the ID for the company, the ID for the contact, and there's no value in the primary interest field because the contact doesn't have that data at the moment. So again, we'll just hit the export to Excel. So that's our 2 exports. So I'm going to open up the second one to start with. And enable editing. So Maximizer will stick totals columns on, so we just need to delete that because it will cause the import some problems. We need to stick a formula in column C, and the way Maximizer exports it, that won't work to start with, so easiest way is just to delete the column and add it back again. Okay, so now we'll open up the company, which we're going to, first off, we're going to create a sheet to put the company data into. So this data is going to be used as a lookup for the company value. So if I open up the company data, so here we'll just copy these. And we can just minimize that for the moment and paste that in here. So that's now our data source. We could delete the second column, but you don't need to with VLOOKUP. So we're going to use VLOOKUP to use this value to look up in this column and then to return this value. So that's what will end up in here. So that equals VLOOKUP, open brackets. So first off is the lookup value, which is this, comma, then it's going to where we're looking the data up from. So I'm going to select 3 columns just in case it's a long data set. And comma, then it's asking us which column to return the data from. So that's column 3. And then comma, are we doing an exact match or not? So we need false to do an exact match. So if we OK, so now we've got the first value, and then we can just copy that down as we normally do in Excel. As you can see, we've got that value now against for all those records. So I'm just going to save that. So this one is export 1. So save. So in Maximizer, to update these records, so what we'll do is we'll use the import tool. Go to here in the import. Start a new import. It's going to ask me for the file, so I'll just pull that saved file over that I've just exported. We're going to do a contact only update. This doesn't matter at the bottom because we've only got 1 value per record. So we're only going to update existing. We're only going to when the actually I want to set it to replace just in case there's a value in the contact already. So now what we're going to do is so this is doing a match. So this is matched the wrong field because you can see there's a contact field here. So I'm going to unlink it. And actually, no, that was correct. Let me put that back again. Right, so contact match for the identification, contact match for the contact number, and here we need to tell it what UDF field we're going to connect it to. So primary interest, so that's the field. So now we've got our matching done. So I'll just close this in a moment. We need to tell it how it's going to match the record in Maximizer. So it's going to match on these 2 fields. Which will give a unique match to the record in Maximizer, and you can see this has got the replace option, and we're just importing as the data comes in. We're not going to make any changes to it. So next, this is just going to confirm what's in the data. We're going to create a new favorite list after it's been imported. I'm not going to save the template. So now if we run the import, so we've got our 22 records, and it shouldn't take too long. Yeah, so 22 records have been imported successfully. If I now go, and as we know, they're the ones on the address book anyway, we can just look at them here. So now we see that has updated itself straight away. So now we've got the company's field the value at the contact level. This won't keep up to date. So if you do have changes at the company level, then you're going to need to do this again. But as you can see, it doesn't take too long.